Hi, I'm Scott Leadingham. Thanks for joining us here in the unique Northwest. Today we are joined by Inland Northwest correspondent Nick Deshea. Thanks for joining us today, Nick.
Thanks, Scott.
We are fresh off the heels of the Washington and Idaho presidential primary. We're not going to talk about specifics and numbers and things like that. That's being sorted out still. But we do want to talk about a little bit about these larger themes, about what voters have thought about and told you about in the region. So let's talk a little bit about that. What are just some of the things that you noticed as we led up to the primary in Washington and Idaho recently?
Well, I think about it, how big a difference we saw from 4 years ago when I was covering it then. 4 years ago, Bernie Sanders came to town twice. Bill Clinton came to town to stump for his wife Hillary Clinton. Donald Trump went to Coeur or roundabouts Coeur. This year, nobody came.
And by town, you mean Spokane, right?
I mean the Spokane, I mean
Area.
Eastern Washington, Inland Northwest. Nobody really showed up. I don't know if that was just the schedule of the Tuesdays of the primary voting, or maybe it had something to do with Washington State switched from having a precinct caucus system for the Democrats. This time it's a state-run presidential primary. Bernie Sanders usually does well in the caucuses. We saw that, Iowa and other states that had some caucuses. But this year we didn't have it. He didn't show up, and he's dead even right now with Joe Biden in the state. So maybe that's why he didn't come, knowing he wouldn't perform as well. I mean, in 2016, I think he got like 75% of the vote in the state, in the caucus system. He's nowhere near that this time.
Some of the themes that jump out to you that voters have talked about, just some of the issues that are of importance that you are following leading up to the election season and you will be looking at going forward over the next year.
Yeah, well, I think what we are hearing locally is not too different than what we hear nationally. You kind of have a schism. But on the Democratic side, you have kind of the establishment moderate wing that's lined up behind Joe Biden right now, and then you have the progressive, more liberal wing that's lined up behind Bernie Sanders. It's the same thing. I have people I've talked to in the Inland Northwest. On Bernie's side, they want, universal health care and free college tuition and all the stuff you hear about nationally. And on the Biden side, the people who are a little bit more moderate, they want to just defeat President Trump, and they think that's the most important thing, and they think he's the most electable. So it's really not that different from what I've gathered than the national conversation.
You can see more of Nick's reporting on these and other topics at our website, nwpb.org. Thank you for joining us here in the unique Northwest.